Hi, and welcome to Jerry's Engineering Corner. My name is Jerry DiBattista, and I'm the Global Vice President of Porex's Virtek PTFE Business Group. For those of you who've watched several of my videos, you will know that our Porex Virtek PTFE breathable membrane is tough, durable, and used in numerous applications in healthcare, industrial, electronics, and many other applications. This hydrophobic material is essential in so many operations of so many products out in the marketplace that you will run into it and not even know it. One question we get asked a lot is, how do I join your product to our product? So today we will go through some common joining techniques of Porex Virtek PTFE to a finished product. So today we're going to go through 6 common techniques. This will be ultrasonic or thermal welding, overmolding, snap fit or clamping, press fit, pressure sensitive adhesive or PSAs, or glue or epoxy. The first joining technique we'll talk today about is ultrasonic or heat staking. So ultrasonic welding is probably the most common way to join Porex Virtek PTFE to its host product. You start off with a strip or typically a roll of PTFE cut to slightly larger than the width of the vent that you need. And then it goes through a piece of equipment called an ultrasonic welder. And then you get a bond to your finished product. Here's one example. And here is a second example of an ultrasonic weld to a finished part. This little short video that we show will show the ultrasonic process. The next technique is overmolding. This is a little bit more complicated and you will need dedicated molding equipment for this or molding tools for this. How that works, you start off with a disc of Porex Virtek PTFE. This disc tends to be slightly thicker than our membranes, about 1 millimeter or so. Then this disc is inserted into an injection mold where a pin comes down and cuts off the flow onto the vent, but actually molds around the entire vent. So you start off with a disc of Porex PTFE, put it into your tool, mold around it, and then you get a permanent bond to your finished product, which allows it to vent. The next technique we'll discuss is a snap fit or clamping. This is where the Porex PTFE is trapped between 2 parts or 2 halves of an enclosure. This is an example of how it's done. You take a Porex Virtek PTFE, again disc, it's put into the enclosure or whatever the final device is, and there's a snap ring or some other secondary feature that snaps it into place. And then once it's snapped into place, it works as perfectly as a vent. This is another example of how it may work. Again, you take a Porex Virtek PTFE disc into 1/2 of the product. You insert the second half. The second half then closes onto the first half, snaps into place, and you have a working vent into your enclosure. The fourth technique is what we call a press fit. Now this here technique, you will require some of our thicker materials, typically our 3 millimeter thick materials. You will have a recess or a cavity into your enclosure. Now, this is typically tapered a bit so that as the part pushes in, it makes a seal with the housing. So you take the frit or the disc, press it into its place, it pushes in with a lot of force, and once it's all the way pushed in, you have a vent. The next technique is using a pressure sensitive adhesive. Now this is probably the most common way to affix Porex Virtek PTFE to its finished part. You start with a disc of Porex Virtek, and about 2 to 3 millimeters around the disc you will have a pressure sensitive adhesive, and on the inside is open, and that's where the product will vent. These come in large sizes, comes in small sizes, depends on your device and how big you need it. You simply remove one of the discs. As you can see here, there is a vent hole in this product. You place it over the vent hole, press on it, and you have a waterproof vent. Very commonly used. This is a waterproof speaker. As you can see, the vent is right here, pressed into or applied into place with a pressure-sensitive adhesive. If you recall, the item I showed earlier, this here is a pressure-sensitive adhesive disc. This is the thermally or ultrasonically welded disc. And actually the venting size is the same for these. So as you can see, for the PSA or pressure-sensitive adhesive, you will require more material, as that adhesive needs to grab onto the parts, whereas a permanent weld or an ultrasonic weld, you don't need a lot of material because the host material actually flows into the PTFE and makes a very, very strong permanent bond. The last technique we're going to talk about is using a glue or an epoxy to affix your disc onto your part. In this technique, you start off with your part. You place a hole or drill a hole or whatever, put a hole into your part. It could be molded in place. Then a adhesive or an epoxy is put on or right around the ring of the hole. Then the PTFE disc is applied on top with slight pressure. The epoxy or glue will actually flow into the PTFE around the ring, and you will have a venting surface again on your device. Again, very common. You can use a high-speed glue applicator for this. Very common in the electronics and medical industries. And as you can see, waterproof seal. Product still vents. Well, I hope you found this video today useful, and it shows you the amazing versatility and flexibility of our Porex Virtek PTFE in so many different applications, in so many different markets. It can be used and applied so many different ways, more so than virtually any other breathable membrane out in the marketplace. One other final note, this workshop has been a great place for me, and you've seen quite a few videos from here. This will probably be the last video you see from this workshop, as me and my family are moving to a new location. One of the nice things about the location is that I will have a much larger workshop. So please look for my next video in probably about a month from my new workshop. Well, that's it today for me, Jerry with a G. Jerry with a G.